maladie sida continue à faire ravage. Il a déjà tué 40,4 millions de monde dans le monde entier. Mais, avec progrès la science, maladie ça en bas code jodi a. D'après l'Organisation mondiale de la santé, en décembre 2022, il y a 39 millions de monde qui vivent avec sida. Les maladies a été fait commencer, c'était une sentence pour la mort. Jodi a, sida c'est une maladie chronique, tant que diabète et tension, parce que il y a un remède pour contrôler sida. Médicaments pour sida diminuent quantité virus et niveau activité virus à gagner dans la commune. Si test HIV ou positif, ça pas veut dire ou gen sida, mais ça veut dire ou en route pour développer maladie sida. Si vous prenez un remède régulièrement, le virus devient indétectable et puis il devient intransmissible. En anglais, on dit undetectable equal untransmissible. Ça veut dire you equal you. En créole, il fait indétectable égale intransmissible. So nous-mêmes, nous disons 1 égale 1. Remède a diminué le risque que vous gagnez pour développer maladie sida. Vous pas qu'à détecter gène dans le sang. Ça veut dire ou pas qu'à passer gène dans l'autre monde. Haïtiens, mes frères, vous de l'autre, on nous bloque sida.
Hi, my name is Brenda Lormel Raymond, oncology nurse practitioner, founder and lead consultant for VDI, a healthcare consulting company. In the United States, breast cancer remains a major concern, impacting countless lives. Breast cancer is the second leading cause of death among women, claiming thousands of lives each year. Black women are particularly affected. Today, we want to emphasize the importance of mammogram exams. Breast cancer affects millions of women nationwide, but early detection can save lives. A mammogram is a simple, non-invasive procedure that can detect abnormalities in the breasts before they can be felt. By scheduling regular mammograms, you're taking charge of your health and increasing the chances of early detection, which leads to better healthcare outcomes. We urge all women, especially those over the age of 40 years old, to prioritize getting their mammograms. It's a small investment of time that can have great impact on your health. Let's unite as a community to support and uplift all women in this battle.
Support the reinstatement of Superintendent Eddy Chrispin. Yes. And what does that support look like? Continue to show up in numbers. System reform. And then, I guess it was supposed to have been a conflict of interest. Whose interest was conflicted? Was it the police? Was it political? That was question one. You have one for question two?
Go ahead, we're gonna go right through them. Yep, she'll listen. Yep.
Okay, question two. Do you know if the BPD has made any progress in changing hiring policies to support diversity and inclusion? No DEI in BPD. It's data driven. It's the table talk. 3, have you encountered any cases where a complaint appealed a non-sustained internal affairs complaint to the Internal Affairs Oversight Panel? And was the decision overturned? Yes, from CRB, Civilian Review Board. Recommendations have been made but overturned by Police Commission. And then there should, as far as the reports go, they shouldn't be annual reports, they should be quarterly because it's a new system, so you gotta stay up on it. If it's something new, you gotta babysit it. And that's it, from the table.
Can we get this table right here, please? Introduce yourselves if you like. We're in community, so it'd be nice. You know, so it'd be nice. And here we go.
My name is Bill Wright, and I first came to this church when I was 10 years old. Eddy Chrispin is highly qualified for the position. He's a graduate of Roxbury College, and is an attorney. He has 25 years of experience. We all on our table agree that he should be reinstated. I believe that the commissioner and the mayor made a mistake in demoting him. They assumed that when they threatened the demotion, and also, with that goes moving $40,000 for salary, that he would back down. And what they found was that Eddy Chrispin has integrity.
Amen.
Nathan Walker wrote a wonderful column about this issue, which he exposed the commissioner and the mayor for backing this move when their excuse for not having on the post was that you might have conflicts of interest if the BPD case came out. If that were to happen, they would just have him excuse himself. He would do that. The Attorney General appointed him, and as you all know, she is a very intelligent woman, and she knows Eddy's history. And I have to add that Eddy and the Attorney General are both graduates of Boston Latin School, which is a very stringent educational system to go through. I'm also a Boston Latin graduate, and when I first met Eddy Chrispin, my first thought was, this is the future Boston Police Commissioner. Question number 2, are they promoting black officers? There is an existing test they can do to promote more black Latino officers. Commissioner Cox is looking to have a new test now. They would only delay that. And Larry Ellison has said on his broadcast on Roxbury Radio that Commissioner Cox in the City Council declared that black and Latino officers were not applying themselves as well as the white officers. That's the kind of language you expect from a white racist, not from a black commissioner. We know the history of Michael Cox, what happened when he was in Boston Force. Right now, I would declare that Ed Davis runs the Boston Police Department, and he's the shadow commissioner. Michelle Wu listens in on law enforcement. She's probably impressed about the marathon bombing things that he did. And the staffer, who is now the chief of staff for Michael Cox, is a woman who was white, who has historically been hostile to black officers. This is something that people in Boston should not accept. And we owe Eddy thanks for exposing this by his integrity and his good character.
Thank you. Next table. Next. Yes, please. Step forward.
Right.
Yep.
We don't have a table, but we made our own. All right. My name's Maurice Hardaway. And so for question 1, kind of went in depth in a couple of these. Question 1 is unanimous. We all know who Eddy is, and we know that beyond integrity, he's a just person. And he doesn't care who you are, what you look like. He's there to help, whether you're a civilian or an officer. He has everybody's back. And so I'm glad to be here to support him in this. Number 2. Let's see, number 2, do you know if the BPD has made any progress in changing hiring policies to support diversity and inclusion? So, folks said no. I mean, most of us are from the community, haven't heard much of anything. Some of the things that were said is that there hasn't been much movement, changes, or additional policies made at all. If so, they don't know about them. One of the suggestions was that if recruitment is such a hard task for BPD, that they use institutions within the community for recruitment. They know the people, they can communicate, and they can uplift. So why not outsource so the community can be a partner with the police? But one of the comments was there is a diversity office. Her name is Sue. She's been working to try and recruit people, so we want to acknowledge when the work is done by an officer. And the cadet program in the past has been successful. But one of the issues was sometimes in the civil service we have great people, but they move on. So a police officer might become a fireman or woman, or move on to something else. But what happens when that person doesn't get replaced with someone of the same caliber because either they haven't been trained or the recruitment isn't there? What do we do about that? Then, if there are laws on the books to ensure diversity, why aren't they being applied? What's happening with the enforcement of the law around ensuring that BIPOC applicants or officers are treated fairly and promoted fairly? One of the questions was, and this just a comment from someone, recent news that there was a captain who committed domestic violence against his wife. And so that person, within the past month or so, this person has not been demoted yet. Yet a past issue was with an officer named Dennis White, and he was demoted, and this captain still stands. So the question of integrity and justness within the system for all officers was raised. Now, there were questions for us. What role does the union play in diversity hires? It can't just be about the system, it can't be just about the people, but the union is a very powerful system itself, and we want to make sure that they are working as well to improve diversity. Question was raised, how did the union help Chrispin? These are answers that they're looking for. And could the commissioner have demoted him to a higher position instead of going to a sergeant detective? That's correct? Yeah. So that was explained that because of civil service, deputy superintendent is an appointment, and it drops down to whatever your civil service position was before you got appointed. So we just want more clarity on how the system works. But I'm thankful to the person who taught us that in that moment. But we want to know more so that we know how to support it. And if we need to change the civil system, how do we do it?
Don't give him no more money. City councilors, don't give him no more money.
Just keep moving forward.
We are going to continue with these great questions that we have here, but thank you for your comment. What happens now with representation for black and brown officers at the higher level? If that was an appointment, and a very strong appointment by someone who gets the job done, who's going to replace this dynamic superintendent?
I'd like to add black, brown, and Asian.
Black, brown, and Asian officers, thank you. So these are questions that people have, and they don't know how to support, but these are some of their answers, these are some of their needs, so that's what we got from the tableist team.
There's the tableist team. All right, we're going to go to this table next. This table right here, please come up. Please come up closer. Has this been informative? Has this been informative for you?
Nope.
Okay.
No, it hasn't.
Okay.
Because the people should be able to ask a question. It shouldn't be written down. They should be able to ask a question.
Thank you. But we're going to respect the agenda in the process.
You asked me and I gave you an answer.
Yeah, there we go. But you're going to get your chance to ask questions. Don't you worry. Yeah, I don't know. We don't have a number for the table.
Table number the best.
Okay, so this is representing table number the best.
Yes.
We've self-named ourselves the best table. So for question one, in terms of support of the reinstatement of Deputy Superintendent Eddy Chrispin, our table is a little bit split because what it comes down to for us is not about speaking specifically on just the reinstatement or demotion or whatever it may be, but actually trying to address the best question we should be asking is how do we address that underlying culture that's the problem. The culture of supporting cover-up and protection of dirty cops and so forth. That's what we need to ask, right? Those are the questions we need to ask. So we were split on that. Question two, do you know if the BPD has made any progress in changing hiring policy to support diversity and inclusion? Well, our commentary on that is about that we need to actually look at not just hiring policies, but what are our fellow minority officers, right? Our fellow officers that look like us in the community, that work for the police department, that are in those positions that do hiring, that do recruiting, that do the backgrounds, that do the interviews. what are they doing to make sure that these policies are being implemented fairly, are being implemented in a way that treats everyone equivalently, that they're not standing by and allowing their coworkers to push someone out of the process or to take them out when they shouldn't be, but giving someone else more favor, right? What are we doing to make sure that we're holding all our people to not sell each other out, right? When it comes to things like this, inside and out. And that's for number 2. When it talks about hiring policies, making sure that we're we're holding our, whether it be family members, friends who are in these positions, to accountability, to make sure that they actually make sure that they stand up and stand against any partiality. Third question, have you encountered any cases where a complaint appealed a non-sustained internal affairs complaint to the Internal Affairs Oversight Panel and the decision was overturned? So at our table, we didn't have personal experience of cases where a complainant appealed a non-sustained IA complaint to the panel. However, a recommendation that would be made for this is for the Internal Affairs Oversight Panel to actually be able to take not only community member complaints, but also complaints or complaints or anything from inside of the department as well, right? And then making sure that there's that level of, that the Office of Police Accountability and Transparency has that power to do so. Because as far as we know, that we've been informed, is that the office does not have the power to hear from complaints from within the department, only from outside of the department. Right? And that hampers a lot of people that may want to be able to hear, right, and be able to say something, not to, because what are you going to do if you can't trust the police department to police itself? Why would you force those inside the department that want to report corruption, that want to report the bad apples, right? Why would you force them to go to people that are just going to corrupt them? That makes no sense.
Exactly.
Right? You want to give them an avenue to have people that they can go to, but then you're going to go tie their hands where they can't. They're like, oh, sorry, we heard you, we got you, but I can't listen to you right now. That doesn't make any sense.
Thank you. We gotta check that back. So now the next table, we have right here. I don't.
Okay.
We didn't have table
The
numbers.
back table down there.
Wave your hands, back
Wave your
table.
hand, back
There you
table.
go. There you go.
Best table. So let's get an idea on not only what are some of the concerns, but different ideas on how to fix them. So the number one question is, everyone at the table did support Eddy Chrispin reinstatement, but the question was, what does that mean? What does reinstatement mean? Does it mean, can he keep his pay grade if he's not reinstated until the command staff? If he is reinstated, will he be targeted, which is a huge concern? And then, will he be able to support and work with the commissioner the way he was with community policing if he is reinstated? So we all are very concerned about that. And if he's not reinstated back as command staff, can he be reinstated into a community where he can be effective? Because right now, I do believe he's in Charlestown.
Yeah.
So that's what we want him back. So if the commissioner is not going to reinstate him back to headquarters, we want him in the community where he can be more effective. So that is what number one is asking. Number two, we talk about number two. We talk about priorities. We want to know questions regarding recruitment. How do we prioritize the civil service test versus the veteran status? Because are we looking at community members, people who are part of the community, who knows Boston, who can be more effective in Boston? Are they going to have more points than someone who's a veteran coming from New York, just because that individual has a veteran status? So we want to talk about that. We would like the city to start looking at city of Boston born and raised, so people who are already in the community, and also check out the ROTCs. All our schools and various Boston schools has ROTCs, so we want to have ideas on how to recruit. And we absolutely agree that recruitment needs to be looked at. And number three, the question. We have several concerns and recommendations. First of all, We are concerned the fact that OPAD has changed executive directors 3 times since its inception. So therefore, we cannot get anything done if we keep having to change directors. Who is going to continue this? So we are concerned about that. We are definitely concerned about visibility, limited visibility. Who are the people in the community who's in part of it? Who are we communicating with so that we, the community of Boston, know exactly what's going on? And the other concern is in regards to the data that was we were trying to open. Who at the Boston Police Department is responsible to provide link to the data to go into the city? Who is responsible for the data so that we all be able to see the data? So these are our concerns. So let's ask BPD. Who do we ask? That's what we are.
All right, next table, here we come. How many more tables do I have left, guys? One more?
One more after.
Okay, you're right after this one. I think the back, okay, I think.
No, I'm going to be after her. I have to go get my baby.
Okay, all right. Yes, ma'am.
That's bonus for you. Marie, that's bonus for you.
You know, right?
That's what you got.
I recognize. I recognize.
Remember those days.
Old district, I recognize. Let's go back. All right, let's get going. I think we only have one more.
Hello everyone, my name is Kenya. I hope you all can hear me and I will keep this very brief because many of our responses were already brought up. So it looks like we all have, very similar goals, common goals. So as it relates to question 1, our table, it was a resounding yes. Deputy Superintendent Eddy Chrispin should be reinstated. I will highlight some of the reasons. He brought value to the command staff. We all know the value that he brings, not just to the command staff, to the department, to the community. Someone earlier wrote that for question number 2, there's no DEI and BPD. Eddy Chrispin started the conversation of DEI within the department. So that is the value that he adds to the command staff, to the department, and to the community to keep those conversations going. But it's beyond conversations with Deputy Chrispin. It's the action that he follows through with that. So, and then for question 1, we had a question for the question. It would be great to understand the whys. Why was the demotion? Why was there a perceived, quote unquote, perceived conflict of interest? Why, he was put into Charlestown.